So we were talking about what is the difference between the position you have now and the position that you were in previously. And you had stated about previously you were in court and you were enduring trial. And now you're saying that you still have to know the law as much as you do now. It's just not as much interactive, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. In my prior position, I was actually practicing law, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so representing clients in court, so doing motions and trials and cross-examining witnesses and presenting evidence, just representing individuals and individual cases. And in my current capacity, while I'm not
Mm-hmm.
doing any court advocacy, I find that I'm doing more advocacy now,
Mm-hmm.
just in thinking about how we represent the tenants that we serve, how we um, interact with the vendors and the contractors and the developers that we work with, and as an agency, how we treat our employees. And so the law is kind of interwoven into all of those aspects of what I'm currently doing, and even more so now, it's just a slightly different type of
Mm-hmm.
legal practice. But definitely, I would say. Having a law degree and kind of having that court-based experience has really kind of shaped how I approach the work that I'm currently doing, even in an administrative role.
That's good. I like your thorough answer. So I am going to ask another question because it kind of brought, what when you were speaking, I just kind of thought about this. Do you feel like this job is like your purpose? Do you feel like you're walking in your purpose right now in a moment with this job? Well, career path.
Yeah, so I do. I feel like my purpose is really to serve others,
Mm-hmm.
and to build community. And I recognize that can look a lot different, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I think in every role that I've had or that God has allowed me to kind of operate in, that's been an essential component of it, right? Serving others and building community. And so I do see what I'm currently doing as a part of that and the fulfillment of that. Um, so absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that I can still say that even though I never envisioned myself kind of along this pathway, it is still fulfilling, right? The desires that God has put in my heart and kind of, I think, his purpose for me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So that's good. So I'm happy that you gave me that answer. And I was going to say yes as well, because I remember you really worked hard when you were on the attorney side, the lawyer side. You really worked hard with making sure that those clients that you were working with were placed and
mm,
they had, if this housing didn't work out, you had a different housing. And one time in particular, you really worked for this one guy that you moved out of his apartment. Yes, I'm going to bring it up because that was the most sweetest thing ever. And I feel like our listeners need to know just being kind and being generous and how far that can get you, showing God's love to others. And it wasn't like he was the most, I felt to me that he was a little entitled for that help. Let's just say that, keeping it clean. But yeah, so you took our all of our kids, all our boys, and they came and they helped move him out of his apartment, and you orchestrated that, and that was just very, very kind of you to make sure that he was good. So yeah, I feel like you are, this is you. I'm so
yeah,
happy about that.
yeah, thank you. Thank you.
But low key, how did you really feel?
That was genuine. And so when I
Uh-huh.
was representing clients in housing cases, you know, sometimes the law is what it is, right? And sometimes you're
Mhm.
not necessarily on the winning side of the law, but that doesn't mean you
Mhm.
can't have a good outcome. And so in that particular case, we were able to negotiate a really good outcome for this individual. He would still need to move because
Yeah.
he wasn't going to be able to pay the rent moving forward. But um, when you have seniors and veterans specifically who have disabilities and they don't have a network or a support system around them, even something as small as like, I shouldn't say small, but something like moving can be like a tremendous burden. And so I'm grateful that you and our other cousins allowed your kids to come out. And the boys, I think it was a really good
It was good for the
opportunity for
boys.
them.
It was
to
really
kind of.
good for the boys. And I'm so happy that you picked them. And again, not to cut you off, but I really
Mhm,
it was really good for all three of the boys because it showed them humility. It
mhm.
showed them how to be generous and be of service to others. So thank you. I
I
appreciate
agree.
that.
I agree. I think it was very good for them. I think it was good for them.
Yes.
So
So, did you ever think your younger self would be the person that you are now? And this means
no,
professionally and personally.
no, no.
You elaborate.
No, no, no. Younger me wanted to be a crash dummy. Younger me
I'm
wanted
glad
to
you
be
said
a
that. Yes.
pharmacist. Younger me wanted to work in politics.
Mm-hmm.
Younger me wanted to be a FBI or a CIA agent. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no. Younger me, even pre law school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wanted to find the career path that was going to make the most money.
Mm-hmm.
And so, even when I was preparing for law school, I was like, I'm going to do intellectual property law because that's where the money is. I had a
Yes.
plan, you know? So, no, absolutely no. Not professionally and not personally, I never saw this coming. I never saw it coming. And that's the beauty of God, right? Like he
Mm-hmm.
already knew. I would have never imagined, but he already knew. He had planned and he saw it. And he did what he needed to do, right? And so I am eager to see what he does next because I have no clue. I can't even begin to
You
imagine,
can't.
right?
I said that you can't even imagine what's happening, what could happen. So younger me wanted to do two things. So I wanted to be a bard and a bus tour junkie. Just
Yeah.
traveling with no just traveling with no responsibilities. Definitely dilly dallying for a career. Like do. Yep, just that's what I wanted to do. However, I do want to state that senior year when we had to, and I don't know if you guys had to do this in your high school in Atlanta, but I know it was very prevalent in the Catholic schools. I guess it was for scholarships or whatever, the Catholic high schools. And they were like, hey, I need you all to finish up your purpose essay on what you want to become and things like that. It was something like that. uh I'm not exactly sure, but I remember writing I wanted to be a school psychologist. And
Oh, really?
I remember writing that, and I remember people saying, "What is that? What is that?" And I was like, "No." I was explaining to them. They was like, "You mean a school counselor?" I said, "No." Mm-mm. So it's kind of what God had planned for me, and it's kind of
Yeah.
like He kind of maneuvered things. However, I will be honest, being a bard still don't sound too bad.
It was, second careers. People do it all the time.
That no, that wouldn't be my second career. That would probably be my fourth. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll probably be my
Yeah.
fourth. Yeah. So, I mean, I gotta find a tour bus, I guess. I don't know.
You'll
But
find those. Those are easy. Those are easy to find.
yeah, and if I was 20 years younger, because I don't sleep.
Right. Just
Tour
take
bus
them.
junkie sleep on the bus during the concert. How about that? Um, are you proud of yourself and all the things that you have accomplished?
I don't know how to answer that question. I'm grateful,
Mm-hmm.
for all that God has done. And I'm grateful, that He's brought me this far. I am. I'm grateful.
So, one thing I can say, and the reason why I mentioned proud and not necessarily grateful, because I know we're grateful for the gifts that He's given us. However, a lot of times with Black women, we don't necessarily say that we're proud of our accomplishments, and we don't necessarily celebrate ourselves for accomplishing the small things and the little things. And so, it comes off as like, well, if I say this, then am I not being humble for my accomplishments because I know they didn't come from me, but I am happy about them. Like I am proud that it's me. So, because I kind of struggle sometimes to like, am I really like proud of myself? But sometimes I'm gonna be honest, I feel like the work isn't done. So I
Yeah.
feel like I can't really be too proud because I feel like the work's not done. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah.
Yeah. How did God help you navigate this new experience? So we talked about the old career, and I know you still have that in
Yeah.
your back pocket, but the new career, how did He help you?
Oh, well, this is, I mean, what I'm doing currently is just it's very different
Mm-hmm.
than what I've ever done before. I spent my entire professional career practicing law. And so he has definitely, I would say, been surrounding me with people who have the knowledge, who've been willing to be a sounding board for me, to mentor me, to help, kind of help with the learning curve, because it's
Mm-hmm.
been a learning curve, and really give me the resources that I need and the favor, right, with people
Mm-hmm.
that you need so that they can show you grace as you're learning, and so that they can impart new information to you along your journey even when they don't realize that they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
um, so for example, just in having a regular conversation with somebody and then they start to explain steps to this
Mm-hmm.
process or steps to this deal that they went through, and not realizing, they're just expressing, but not realizing that I'm actually learning, right, from
Mm-hmm.
listening to them and kind of going along the journey with them as they're sharing their experiences. And so he has been really gracious to allow me those opportunities and to put people along my pathway who have been super supportive, and willing to just kind of help me and support me along my journey. And so I've been really grateful for that. And so it's definitely been a faith walk. It is 100% been a faith walk. And so I'm continuing to look for the help, right? Like around every corner, I'm like, okay, God, where's my help? What's
Yeah.
the answer here? Who's gonna help me with this? And every time
Lean into
he
it.
provides. Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Lean into it. That grace and that mercy next to you.
Yeah. Yes.
So, here's the other thing that I'm going to mention. So, I was reading a book, and it was a passage, and this was not a it wasn't a church book or nothing like that. It was just it had some type of religious aspect in the background, but it wasn't like a religious book. So it was a fictional book. So what happened is that in the book, this woman, she was in her job, and everybody around her, because God found favor in her, everybody else got to get spill off that favor. And then, do you see that? Well, let me just speed up to the process. So everybody around her found favor because God found favor in her, and then the people that broke off, they did not find that favor, and they tried to come back, and it's pretty a good story. I don't ever remember titles, but again, y'all, I'm going to put it in the comments. But do you feel like that your favor has overflowed in your department?
Um, I don't know. So I was listening to the story and it made me think about the story of Nehemiah, right? How
Mm-hmm.
God had given him a task, and kind of led him back to the city to rebuild the walls, and how as the he kind of gave Nehemiah the people that he needed, and he allowed them all to be of one heart and one mind
Yeah.
to towards the mission. And so I do feel like that has been my experience, right? That God has purposed something, and that He has allowed the people around me to have one heart and one mind to actually
Yeah.
attain that mission and that goal. And because of that, He's blessed us.
Podcast, we definitely discuss healing. We discuss aspects of psychology. We discuss, like, you becoming the best you, mental wellness,
For sure.
health,
Femininity, parenthood, dating
definitely
as
dating.
single parents. And it's from a lens of two psychologists,
Yeah,
So,
but also to people who grew up like with both parents, married parents, and then like you all know that Chloe and I are the youngest of our crews, like her siblings and my siblings. So yeah, so it's from that perspective.
Looking at life through that lens. So you're gonna get a whole lot of things from us. From us being women going through life as parents and all of these awesome attributes. But yes, womanology, the study of women.
The study of women.